So hello everyone and welcome to Second Saturday Satsang, where together we Zoom. Satsang is a Sanskrit word meaning in the company of truth. So we come together to sit in the company of truth and to study spiritual principle, to raise our vibration and to clear our energy fields and to be in community. So namaste. Namaste. I'd like to begin by acknowledging the divinity within each one of you. Namaste literally means the divinity within me, salutes the divinity within you. And the ritual of arati, the waving of the light, is a formal recognition of this salute, of your light, the light that is your true self. And this is something I want everybody to really pay attention to today, because that's the part of us that we're going to be getting in touch with this week or today. So we always want to do that, but particularly today we're going to do that. So I'm going to worship you and worship all of us, the light that is within all of us. Om Namah Shivaya, Shivaya, Shiva. 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 So let us now invite our guides and teachers from the higher planes to join us. We ask for clarity and wisdom and guidance, and we bring an open heart and a beginner's mind. And together we acknowledge the presence of the Master, the grace of the Guru, the blessings and guidance of Mahavatar Babaji, Satgurunath Maharaj Ki Jai. So I am so glad that you're here with us today. It is an interesting time. The astrologers, and I am such a novice at this, but the astrologers tell us that this is the most intense, energetically, the most intense week of the year. It's the season of the eclipses, and we've just had an eclipse 2 days ago. And sure enough, I have to say almost everybody I know has or is or has been going through a crisis within the last month or so. Mm-hmm. I mean, one of us totaled our car. One of us literally died and came back left her body and came back. One of us stepped down from her management position into a lower paying position because of the stress. And I could name 10 just right off the top of my head. If people are not going through crisis, sometimes they're going through depression, just for no event in their life, but just because there's something trying to be birthed right now that is very, very important. And it culminated, this time is culminating in the lunar eclipse of the sun in the sign of Mercury. Mercury is communication, of course. And it's also figuring things out. It's the energy of understanding and figuring things out. And so isn't it interesting that the moon has just covered up the sun, right? The sun represents our conscious mind, and the moon represents our unconscious mind. Isn't that interesting? That just covered it up and made the moon the most obvious or the most present energy in our lives. Our unconscious is moving forward through our conscious mind, is overcoming our conscious mind for a moment. And in fact, as they say, the universe is fractal, which means it repeats itself in several ways. Astrology is fractal. Right now, the sun is square to Neptune. Neptune is all about dissolution, and it's the ocean, it's the water, it's the sea, and the sun again, and it's feminine in its energy, whereas the sun is masculine and rational. Those things are happening. They are squaring as well. So there's a tension right now between the world of dreams and the world of rationality, and we're feeling it. We're having to give up. Oh my gosh, you guys, everybody I know is going through this. We're having to give up our ego structures, another layer of our ego structures. I shouldn't say we have to, because we always have a choice, but we're certainly being given the opportunity to do that right now. And even if you haven't had an event in your life, you are being given this opportunity as well. The opportunity to dissolve your ego structures. And what are they? The ego tells you who you are. I listened to my granddaughter turned me on to this podcast last night, and she said, "Oh, Nana, please watch this." And it was Demi Lovato and Glennon somebody, Doyle, I think, anyway, somebody I'd never heard of. They were talking about gender identity mainly, but one of the things they said that really struck me is that gender and all of the other ego structures, they are performances. What does it mean to be a woman? You are shown that, and told that, and sometimes you feel that, and you then start to perform that. And I thought, oh, that was just so amazing to me. I was so glad she turned me on to that. And it was also wonderful to see people that young being that wise about, because it took me many, many more years to get where they are. So it was so encouraging to me. So the moon is taking precedence for a spell, right? The ego structures are, who am I? Am I my beliefs? I used to think I was, until I changed my beliefs. This happened, the first time this happened to me was in the early 90s. And I had to say to myself, wow, if I don't believe that anymore, then who am I? I thought that was me. I thought that's who I was. It was the first time I consciously knew that I was dissolving my ego structures, even though I didn't have the words for it. Am I my actions? Is that who I am? Am I defined by the people who know me, by the people who approve of me or disapprove of me? Am I defined by that? So ego structures, as I said, are performances. Isn't that wonderful? They are performances that we can pull the curtain down on. We can say, I don't want to do that anymore. And the whole idea right now is to surrender to who we really are. I've been having so many epiphanies lately, and I just, I shared some in my meditation that the epiphany of being versus doing, the epiphany of self-care, taking care of myself by not just doing, taking a bath with champagne. That's nice, but taking care of myself by being myself. Whoa. It's hard to know who that is, right? And I'm learning another layer of that, as are we all. I'm learning the ideas that I have of what success is were given to me by my culture. They were given to me by my family. They were given to me by my peer group, right? What I should do in the world was given to me, and I began to perform that. It wasn't really necessarily me at all. So I think of the Lord's Prayer so often these days. I understand the Lord's Prayer in a completely different way than I used to. Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. In the third dimension, as it is intended in the energies of the universe that are trying to express themselves through you. And you, the real you, has to stop performing in order to become who you are, right? So on earth as it is in heaven, it's a time of flow from self, right? It's a time of, isn't it interesting? It's a time of taking off our masks. And we are doing just that, metaphorically and literally. But we're being asked to drop our culture with these masks. I'd like to ask you to think for a moment, what if you, with the same energies that are alive within you, what if you had been born in Afghanistan,
Mhm.
South America? What if you'd been born in Polynesia, in Russia, in Papua New Guinea? With the same urges and the same intelligence, but different opportunities, different structures and frames for the way you think, different education, different culture. That part of you that is true no matter where we drop you into a life, that part of you is what we have to find in order to be who we are. Being versus doing. And as I said in the meditation, I think doing is great. In the third dimension, we have to do, don't we? But if doing comes from being, it's a very different thing than doing comes from performing. So in order to be, it's so tied up with self-care, the most basic type of self-care, which is to recognize and accept the energies, the intelligence, the urges that we have that are expressing themselves through us. I have long believed, and used to people thought I was crazy, and nowadays they don't. So things are changing. I have long believed that if all of us followed our hearts completely, or as Joseph Campbell said, follow our bliss, that the world would run like a top. Because we come in with the energy to do what we're supposed to do. I was talking to my Aunt Donna yesterday, and she's only 10 years older than I am. So she's my dad's little sister. And she's an amazing person. Our family is huge. I mean, huge. And she knows every single niece and nephew and grandniece and grandnephew and great grandniece and nephew, and goes to if she can, she goes to their ball games. And I'm like, Aunt Donna, you are extraordinary. You have been something in my life that I didn't have and wouldn't have had. You would have been such, she said, but Shelley, I do it because I'm selfish. I want them to like me. And she was feeling bad about that. She was like, don't give me any praise. I do it for myself. I said, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with enjoying what you came in to do? God wants you to enjoy instead of doing it through duty. If you may have remembered, I mentioned in a satsang in the past that when I read the words in A Course of Miracles, which you all may be familiar with, A Course in Miracles, I read the words sacrifice is a form of hatred. I went, what? That's not what I was taught. But I understood it eventually. Sacrifice is what we do when we don't want to do it. It's when we go visit somebody that we really don't want to go visit. And when I was in the hospital, I remember my friend saying to me afterwards, she said, I'm so sorry I didn't come and see you. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to say. I was afraid and I feel so guilty. I'm like, don't. The exact right people came to see me. There were people who came to see me that were just called to do it. And they wanted to help. I had a friend who called me every day and said, or every week and said, I'm going to the store. What can I bring you? And I mean, she just took care of me, and that was her calling to do that. She loved it. So that's the thing. Bringing everything you are to the surface is such a gift to the world. You think it's being selfish, but it's being who you are. So loving yourself, accepting yourself is the most important thing that you can do for the world. I'm going to say that again. Loving yourself and accepting yourself with a capital S is the most important thing you can do for humanity, for the cosmos, for the universe, for God. It's the most important thing you can do. So I want to do a little exercise together before we meditate. I want you to close your eyes and just relax a minute. We talked about last week, I think, was that our body is our monitor. It's like the computer monitor. It shows you what's going on in the computer. Our body is our monitor. So I want you to just check in with your body right now. Notice any place where you are tense or even anxious. And I want you to just honor that sensation without the label, just the sensation that you find in your body. Honor that sensation. Accept it and love it. Send your love, pour your love into that sensation. Say to it, I see you. I love you. Then you might ask if it wants something. Ask it what it wants. And then ask your body if it's willing to release the sensation in order to receive what it truly needs. The answer might be no, but maybe it'll be yes. Abracadabra. I'm going to use an ancient word. Abracadabra. Sense the energies balancing in your body now. Sense it. Breathe in love, light, and healing. And exhale into the sensation in your body. Breathe in love, light, and healing. Fill yourself up with it. And then breathe out. Breathe into the sensation. Relax and release the muscles around that part of your body. Imagining those muscles lengthening and softening and relaxing. Breathing in love, light, and healing. Breathing out into the sensation. With love, you are healed. Thank you, Spirit. So let's meditate, shall we? Just continue to relax and let yourself be supported in whatever space you are in right now. Breathing in this precise moment. We check in with our body again, which is the monitor God gave you in this lifetime. And notice any thoughts that come up. What were they about? Does your body want something? Or were you thinking of someone? Or maybe you were planning something. What? Whatever it is, just drop it. That's right. Consciously decide to drop it and feel the energy of it leave your body now. That's right. Keep releasing. And take a deep cleansing breath and release everything that concerns you right now, everything that is not you, all the structures that you have been performing, everything that is not the most beautiful central kernel of perfection that is the authentic, true you. All the judgments have floated away. All the fears dissipate. Your beauty, the beauty of your authentic self is beginning to shine its light now. Oh, yes. What color is the light that you're shining? I imagine it's the most beautiful color you can imagine. The color of self-love, unconditional self-acceptance. Oh, it doesn't matter now if anyone else can see it. You know who you are. Feel the love in your heart flowing into this radiant light that is you. Love flowing into this light, and you see the color grow brighter and deeper at once. Yes. Yes. Notice the various energy centers of your body, your chakras glowing and radiating you. Your body is not you, but the radiance it carries certainly is. Give your attention to the energy center that you notice is the brightest, the most energetic. How nice. This is the part of you that is singing the loudest right now. Enjoy the music of you. Your energy centers, your chakras hum as they radiate, and each chakra now rising to the radiance level of the most radiant chakra, harmonizing and glowing and humming and radiating. Oh, feels delicious. And now I would like you to place one of your thumbs in the palm of the opposite hand. Place the thumb of one hand into the palm of the other hand and hold it there gently. Now I'd like you to imagine the feeling, the sound, the radiance of yourself again. Imagine all of that gently growing louder and brighter and more sensational, more delicious feeling, more. And just when the crescendo begins to peak, press your thumb into your palm. You are anchoring this state. You're saving it to your body so you can access it again and again. Feel it and anchor the sensation with your thumb pressed into your palm. Yes. And now rest your hands back where you had them. And embody these words: I am love. I radiate love. I hum with love. God is love, and I am love. And so it is. So bring your attention back to your physical body now. And take another deep cleansing breath. Begin to notice the room in which your body is resting. Notice maybe the air temperature, any ambient sounds. And take yet another deep cleansing breath. And when you're ready, open your eyes. You are beauty itself. Some of you are familiar with this technique of anchoring. Anchoring a state, it comes from the science of neuro-linguistic programming, NLP. You can associate the physical sensation to a heightened state that you want to recall at will. I invite you to trigger this sense of your beautiful self often. In fact, I invite you to trigger it right now by pressing your palm again. It's wonderful, right? And I invite you to do it often. Keep it fresh and keep it, keep this something that is a gift to yourself. It's self-care at its highest level. I love you. I love you. So I have muted everybody. So I would like for you to be able to unmute yourself now, and let's spend time in community and share our dreams and our experiences. And I wonder if anybody would like to share their experience either of this meditation or what's going on with you right now. There is a lot going on with everybody, and we want to be there to support. Vishpala?
Good morning, everyone.
You're not muted, so I'm gonna ask you. I'll call on somebody. I don't like dead airtime.
No, that's perfect anyway. Good morning, and thank you for that lovely meditation. I was so in tune with what you were saying that my cats came up to enjoy the energy, and I was like, well, that's gonna happen. And they were rubbing up against me and walking in the back, and one walked in the front. I was like, what the heck is this?
Oh.
But I just stayed focused because I thought your words were very powerful and just really what I wanted to hear right now. So thank you for that. I definitely am going through a lot right now. I took on assisting an NLP, a landmark seminar on Zoom, and I realized that what I'm doing with my other practices, um, they give so much more information than the landmark does, and landmark kind of just slows you. I feel like they're spoon feeding. I'm all really aware of ratcheting knowledge and ratcheting down spirituality. Like when you give so freely, and you give what moves you, and you give fully. And I'm just so aware now of when people are their true self, or when they're not, you know what I mean, or not giving fully. And they have their reasons. I'm not trying to judge anybody or anything, but I'm just aware of it right now. And then I'm trying to see, like, another NLP thing is perception is projection, right? So now I'm trying to say, well, where am I ratcheting it? Where am I limiting myself? Where am I not my true self? And I really am I always take your satsangs, and I take them with me throughout the month. So I'm really going to take in this and really look to see. I don't know. It's just really right where I'm at. You're always right where I'm at. I love that.
Because we're all in this together, I think, and the energies that are
Yeah.
playing out, it's as above, so below. The energies in the
Yeah.
sky are the energies in our bodies that are playing out. So, yeah.
Thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. Appreciate that. Who else?
I could say something.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. So for those who are on the call now, my name's Margaret. I'm just going to just start from the beginning a little bit and put it in a nutshell. But I also go by Chandra Devi Nightingale Song.
Yes.
I am an empath. Let's see. I know what Indira was speaking of. She is also one of my ultimate teachers. It's definitely the lineage of Mahavatar Babaji through Samyama and Indira. And Ahalya Running Deer was also a teacher for a long time of mine. So in I don't want to take up too much time because I know everyone needs to speak, but when Indira had mentioned about someone who has, how we're all going through incredible, just beyond words. I mean, first I said, it was my move. Like I just moved. I'm like, okay, it's my move. Moving from New Jersey, from New York to New Jersey. That alone is just enough. And then on top of it, I had COVID, but I'm good now. I'm healthy. I had multiple jobs. I'm just going to put it out there. I'm not working at the moment. Well, I am working 24/7, but I'm not working. Yet. I have a couple jobs lined up. So, okay, let me just back up a little bit more. So, okay, move. I call it post COVID madness was one of my things to say to people because they're like, what's going on? So I was like, okay, move, COVID, people not having money, they're struggling, they're hurting, we're afraid of each other. People are scared. People aren't respecting one another out there. If people need to wear a mask still, it's okay. If you want to wear a mask as long as you want until you feel comfortable, you can. I guess what I'm trying to say is when Indira said that she has people or disciples or
Friends and family.
friends and family who feel that they've experienced something. She helped me to a point where I didn't know what was happening. And she actually, you, Indira, you were the one who basically, I can't even say, but it's the truth. I know people are probably like, what is she talking about? But you'll know when you know, is basically, you'll know, like there's no other experience like that. And I guess what I'm saying is that I know we all experience it, but for me, this is the very first time I've ever experienced anything like this before.
Mm.
And you brought me back down, Indira. You did. No one else. You did.
Wow. Mm. Sweetheart. Mm. You're so expanded that, you know, we have our earthly
Yeah.
bodies that we have to worry about sometimes, even though
Yeah. I'm good now. I'm good.
Yeah.
So much has happened since then. I really truly understand. But I think the thing is my body is now, you said before that we don't have the gods and the angels say you don't have to like prove anything anymore. I'm not trying to prove anything. It's just when the climate is the climate, and that's a very serious issue, it's very hard not to, like, if you see a small little tiny like a little flame on a lawn, like, wouldn't you just go over and put it out? I mean, wouldn't somebody just go and say, hey, I'm not going to call and bother wasting my time, I'm going to go put it out. But when it's somebody else's problem, no, not problem, but it's too big for you. Yeah, you're going to have to put that out. And then then you say, look, there was a little fire over here. I can't, it's out of my hands now. You know, like, let the people take care of it, or like the universe or God. It's not your responsibility. But
Yeah.
I mean, we're doing God's work here.
Yes.
So, but you have to pick and choose, because sometimes other people don't know what you're doing and it might scare them. You know what I mean? It might scare them, or they might say, hey, you know what? A few days later, that person actually was onto something.
Right.
So anyway, that's all. I know I'm taking up a lot of time, but that's kind of where I'm at. And for the people who don't know, I live in New Jersey now. I've moved 3 times since 2018. So we had to move. My partner Ray and I had to move because of COVID. The owners of our home in Greenwood Lake needed to move out of New York City because we don't know why for sure. We know why, but we're not sure if it was really true or not. They said that she had like medical issues that they had to, but we were told that we didn't have to by law move, but we just didn't want to deal with that. We said, let's just go find something. Bottom line, we've been looking since October for a place to live. So we found it finally. This is the place I'm meant to be. This is it. This is beyond my comprehension. You know, this house, like, we were chosen to live here, not just by the landlord, but the highest. Absolutely no doubt in my mind that we're meant to be here. You know, Ray and I have issues. There's no doubt. He's at a different level and he's learning. He's a quick learner. I had someone tell me to teach people, well, let's just say, almost as is like, just like their child, like a puppy, or it's like you need to train them again, not to be mean, but you sort of have to just like go slow, little by little, like little by little, day by day, not too much, too quick, because it can cause, it's like my energy right now. The reason why I have to do what I do is because I share a space with this person. And if I want to stay at a certain level, I can't around him all the time. I have to come back down. Do you know what I mean? Do you follow me? Like, I don't mean in a mean way.
No, you have to take care of yourself. You have to make
Yeah.
sure that your energy has integrity. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm learning. That's what I'm learning. And it's like, I definitely pushed it the other night because I needed him to move up a little bit quicker than he was. And I wasn't trying to force it, but I definitely was like, I took a couple of risks, you know. I'll tell you about it.
Okay. We'll talk
No,
later.
but it's good. It's good. I mean, I know people are listening and it's okay. We're partners, and I know I'm taking up a lot of time, but I'm so thrilled to be here. And I'm just how happy that there's a big group now, a bigger group than than there was, you know, last time we met, like last Zoom call. There's more people now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just want to say thank you. I don't even know how to say thank you. And I just want to thank everybody for the patience, because I'm taking up a lot of time.
Well, thank you, Chandra Devi. Thank you for sharing your beautiful light. I appreciate that. It's who you are. Who else wants to share? I would love to hear from a couple of people who I don't think I know, Tommy or Utamu, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. I'm not sure. I don't think I've met you. If I have, I don't remember, and you'll have to forgive me. I probably would remember your face. Would either of you like to share? You'd have to unmute yourself. Okay. Probably somebody, and if anybody is using the chat, I don't know about it because I'm not good at checking it. Okay, I won't press anybody to share, but hello and welcome and thank you for joining us. Who else would like to share? Ursula.
I would like to share. Yes. Well, yeah, my name is Ursula, and hello everyone. Well, thank you so much, Indira, for this wonderful meditation. It was so powerful and so expansive, and my heart has been so touched to be with you and to be in this circle, and certainly also memories came in from our earlier times where we had shared in person encounters. And I really love this anchoring in this this beautiful state or beautiful expansiveness, and to recall it like what you just shared. And where I'm right now is, for me, there's happening a lot as well. There's been happening a lot of healing, which kind of, or it's like a truly new beginning for me, some sort of what happens right now, because, well, I had PTSD the most of my life, and now it's really like so much healing has happened, and that things come really together and can ground finally. So that's really huge for me, and so that this is really like really a new dawn, a new beginning for me happening right now, and that's, I mean, that's the main thing, of course. Yeah. And because we have today like being versus doing, what I practice very actively these days is I'm following my passion of drawing and painting, and I'm especially painting a lot of mandalas, and that's kind of, they really sort of flow out of me. Yeah, like naturally, like playfully, like I love practicing this. This is for me like an expression of me being. That's kind of like it feels.
Right.
So
wow,
yeah,
that's a high job. I think as time goes by, most of us are realizing that a great part of our job is to help heal, and it doesn't look like what we thought it was going to look. It doesn't look like having an audience of 1,000 people, and it looks like doing mandalas, and it's like we're bringing in the energies and healing them in our energy fields. Yes. For me, I heal it in my body. You heal it through your art. It's the work that we're supposed to do. And we couldn't get by with being, let's just be honest, we couldn't get by with being who we were all these years. We had to have a job, we had to do, we had to fit in, we had, because otherwise, but now is the time when we're really having to be with a capital B, who we are. And it is, what you're doing is healing the planet with your art, even if nobody ever sees it. see, that's what I got this week. That's what I was missing before. That idea that what I am supposed to do is something that's very private.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to bring in healing in my body and do that exercise that we did earlier before the meditation. I'm an empath as well, and I pick up stuff. And when I pick up stuff, I am beginning to realize that my main job is not a teacher. My main job is to sit quietly and process those energies in my body
Yes.
Yeah.
and heal them. That's
Yes.
why I'm an empath.
Yeah.
So I'm going to stop performing the teacher performance as much. I'm going to just be who I am. And so that doesn't mean I'm going to stop teaching. I love teaching, but that's my main job.
And dear, could I say something?
Please.
One of the things I noticed that I'm doing is that when I get to the point where I just don't know, I'm spinning, and I just don't know where to go anymore, I turn to performance. Like I turn to performance and and humor, like something that could be so incredibly serious, but just to shift the energy quickly around you. Like for me personally, like people in and around me, they don't know what's going, they're like, what is she doing? Like, just because I really truly have a clear, everything I do is on purpose. Like it's not always like, it's got the guides and all this other, I'm not really quite sure if it's a combination of things happening, but at that moment I have to just then circle back and find the silver lining and make it fun. Like make it like skits. I have skits now. Like they're funny. They're really fun. And it's hard for people to even keep track of it all because they're like, wait a minute, 1 minute you were just in a serious crisis and now you think it's funny? Like, I don't know, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, it's not funny, but it's like, and it keeps happening. But the only way I can get out of it completely is to have like, not to make fun or be mean to anything, but like kind of like a little rascal type way. Like, I say little rascal. Yeah. It's like, yeah. Anyway, I just had to explain that because yes.
Yeah, I got you, because I do the same thing. And
Okay.
for me, it's changing the shape of my eyes. When I am overwhelmed by something, I can change the shape of my eyes to wonder and joy. And my body goes, oh, we're doing something different now. And so it is, when you said performance, at first I thought you meant performing the ego structures, but that's not what you meant. And I get it. I totally get what you're talking about. We have all these ways that we can bring ourselves around to less pain, really, because as again, Marianne Williamson, who I always quote, she said, God doesn't require our pain, but we usually do. We insist on having pain, but God doesn't require it. So we can do it through the joy of performance, or through the joy of changing your eyes into oh, I think I'm going to be curious instead of mad. I think I'm going to be joyful instead of sad. So,
like a Sherlock Holmes type. Anyway, I just had to add that in there. Yeah.
Thank you. Who else is going through something they want to share or wants to talk about? Ishwari, I see you're not muted.
Yes, it's really great to be with everybody. I've been feeling just on the edge of real desperation, like, my gosh, what is going to happen to me? Am I going to check myself onto a mental ward somewhere, or what? I just feel sometimes like the earth is just shaking underneath my feet and I'm going to drop into a bottomless pit or something. I guess it's just all my insecurities magnifying and coming out. And, I read these, like these quotes by Marianne Williamson that, our pain is not required. And I think, here I've been studying these spiritual things for many years, and yet I'm not a living, breathing example of these concepts because I'm feeling so much pain myself. And I just had to get on the phone and call a few people last night because I just felt so isolated and alone. And I called a friend who used to live here in Atlanta, and she's moved far away to Montana. And I was just feeling, just really missing being able to be with her in person. And but I'm just wondering, when am I going to get all of these studies that I've done? And when am I going to get out of this stuck place? It's like
I've known you for many years, Ishwari, and I would not say that you are stuck. I don't think we're ever going to get to the point where we know it all and where we experience what, things. I mean, if we do, we'll probably vibrate off the planet because our vibration will be so high we won't even, so this is I believe, my belief is that we're here to learn, and that we came, many of us, I believe, I've heard this said by a lot of people, and I believe it, many of us decided to come back in this lifetime and burn off all our karma.
Yes.
So,
Yep.
So we're doing that, and it looked probably pretty easy from the other side, but it's not so easy once we get here. But I would like to reframe that for you to say, you have come so far. And I would also like to say, I have come so far, and neither one of us is there yet. I in my meditation, I in the monthly meditation, I mentioned that I spent a couple of hours reading over old journal entries for the last few years. And I was like, oh my gosh, I've had so many epiphanies when I write. I'd had so many things that came to me, and I understood things differently and well, and then I forgot them later. I'm like, why could I not remember this in the moment later? Well, because it takes practice. That's why they call it practice. And I'm kind of a slow learner. I hate to say it, but I'm kind of a slow learner. And so the pain is not required, but the pain is a gift if indeed it wakes me up. If indeed it reminds me to look again and to see who I am. So I would just like to reframe it for you to say you're here on the earth to learn and to burn karma, perhaps. And you have come so far. And yes, it's difficult. I know that. And I forget. It's like I said, before, could have had a miracle. I forgot to be who I know to be. And I can't say for a minute that I'm a person who is always present. I wish I were. Or is not performing. I thought the performance, the first 3/4 of my life, I thought the performance was what I was supposed to do. I thought I was supposed to get better at the performance of my gender, of my work role, of my role as a daughter, as a wife, as a whatever. I thought that I was supposed to get better at that instead of dropping it. So it's just a journey. It's just a journey, and I'm a slow learner, but I keep at it. and so do you. I'm so proud of you and so honored to know you for that reason. You keep at it. And that is something for me that is inspiring.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Sometimes I thank you so much. That's so affirming, and I'll love and accept myself enough to hold on to that, Indira, and accept myself and keep on the path. And I just sometimes I and not fall into the trap of comparing myself, because I see so many young people that just naturally have this spiritual connection, and I think, oh my gosh, I've been so laboriously, studying for years, and I'm way behind these kids who just have it naturally. And
You're not behind. You're not behind. You're not behind.
Yeah.
All of us as children are much more sensitive. You just have to tap into that child, your inner child.
And we, let's just be honest, in our generation, we were not encouraged to do that. And you're younger than I am, Ishwar. I know that. I'm not trying to make you as old as I am, but I'm saying that, our culture has been really informing us about how we should be, what we should look like, what people should react to us about, the way people should react to us, etc. And it's not who we are. And now this amazing time we're living through, which some people would say is a curse, that old Chinese curse, may you live in interesting times. We are living in freaking interesting times. And some people will consider it a curse. But really, if you think about it, we're on the cusp of something that we ourselves, in my generation, your generation, we helped to usher this in so that those children who you are looking at and going, wow, I wish I could do that, so that they could do that. And then we come back in another lifetime and we are where they are, and then we're past where they are. But, so we're all part of the same growing, evolving humanity. And our part is to do what our part is. And I love that you say comparing yourself to others. I grew up doing that. In fact, my family literally taught me to do that. I mean, it was not like, don't compare yourself to others. It was like, compare yourself to this person and that person and that. You're what about this person? They're doing that. Why can't you? And so that was what we were taught to do. And that's a performance. We're performing somebody else's truth. And thank God for us, because we, in our generations that are present here, we learned to shed some of that so that our children that we raised were able to be somebody different than we were. So thank God for us. Thank God for you. Oh, I noticed it's 11 o'clock. I want to always be respectful of everybody's time, but I want to give anybody that has something, a burning thing to share, to please. Bala, beloved.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Yeah, so I am in Miami, Florida.
Oh,
Yeah, probably the last several times on this meeting, I've been hiking in Georgia. And I tell you what, I kind of miss it right now. I don't think Miami is my very, very favorite place necessarily. So this trip has been very, very interesting for one big reason. So I want to share about this experience.
okay.
And I guess one thing is, like, I'm kind of reminded of this Course in Miracles idea, this idea that there are no small grievances. There are no little upsets. And what do I interpret that to mean? I interpret that to mean that when we have a grievance, in some way, that's cutting us off from the sunlight of the spirit. That's cutting us off from, our potential in any moment, maybe. And I had this memory. I want to just draw a contrast between about 8 years ago. I was on the beach of Santa Monica. Beautiful, beautiful beach. It was nice and cool. I had just spoken with Samyama on the phone, and one of the things we talked about was just this idea of spiritual weather and how, regardless of you and what you're doing and what you're trying to accomplish and where you're going. And, you know, you can be doing everything right. And there can still be this kind of psychic weather happening that causes you to have challenges. In some periods,
I
you
hear
have more
birds.
challenges.
I
And
hear
sometimes
birds.
you'll have, and sometimes you'll have less challenges, and things will be super easy for a while.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, I'm out there on this beach and everything's perfect. It couldn't get more perfect. The very next day, I'm packing up and I've got all my bags. I'm going to the airport and I'm sitting on this shuttle on the way to the airport, and the air conditioning is not really working. And I'm tired and I'm hungry and I'm completely miserable. And I just thought it was such an interesting contrast between, you know, in one moment feeling like, wow, maybe I've really got this. I've really got this kind of figured out, you know. This, you know, turns out this is a pretty good deal. And then a moment later, you know, just 8 hours, you know, 8-9 hours later, I'm miserable. And what has changed in that period, right? So now I want to draw that to a contrast to this trip that I'm on now, because this trip, there has been an obstacle and a test around every single corner. Everything I've done has given me this opportunity to have a grievance, and it has not been easy. But there's this contrast, because back then, you know, I could be aware of it. That was how far I'd grown, was to the extent that I could be aware that I was unsettled and I had grievances and I was frustrated. And I knew that I was, and I knew that I wasn't frustrated for the reasons that I thought. And I had no agency. I had like zero agency to get out of that state. And then on this trip, many of the same things are happening. You know, I'm carrying too many bags. They forgot to turn the air conditioning on in the airport in Miami. You know, I bought my favorite drink and I dropped it and spilled it, and, you know, didn't get to drink it. And, you know, the hotel took forever to get me checked in. Like all these things. Well, I mean, and even like other things. So I'm walking on Miami Beach, and there's just so many beautiful people here, and everybody's showing off everything that they have. You know, so there's Lamborghinis driving around, and, you know, so I start noticing like this feeling of jealousy. I've got all these things that are coming up. Each one I'm amazingly able to address, you know, and turn away from, or kind of lean back from that samskara of letting those things upset me, or let me stay in that upset. And this is really a pretty big deal to me. And it seems like this whole trip, I'm saying, well, why did I spend so much money on this trip? Did I do the right thing? And it seems like the whole trip was coordinated just to test me over and over again in terms of, are you able to stay in a beautiful state? Are you able to do this now? Have you gotten to this place? And remarkably, you know, it's certainly a lot of the steps along the way haven't been easy, and I've stayed in a negative state for moments, but each time, you know, I was able to find a way to be out of that thirst and more into the sunlight of the spirit. So that's where I'm at right now. And this has not been a great time. This has not been a lot of fun. This has not been my favorite trip. But being able to see that, I think, has been just a mark of progress for me, I think.
Wow. Oh, thank you for sharing that.
That is awesome.
Boy, that is all of our experience, I think, that spiritual weather thing, and thinking, oh, I've got it. No, I lost it. Oh, I got it. No, I lost it. That is so universal in our experience. So thank you for that. And it is a wonderful to know that we can progress. And I think that's what, you know, Ishwari, we were talking about, is that we're never, you know, we're probably not perfect, or we'll vibrate off the universe, but or out of the earth plane, but we are working on it, and we are getting better, and noticing our progress is, you know, for me, it's just so important. I hope it's important for you too. I mean, I believe it's important for you too. It's definitely important for me to notice it. So it is past our time, and I want to always be respectful of our time, although we started a couple of minutes late. So anyway, I love you all.
Indira, I wanted to ask something really quick. I'm so sorry to interrupt. If we wanted to stay on a little longer, just since it's a little bit, it's everybody's time, I know, but I know it's time to go, people have things to do. But if we wanted to stay on a little longer, just because this is kind of like a little bit unusual time,
I will stop the.
what do you think?
We'll,
I mean,
we'll stop the recording and stop in the service. And then if somebody wants to hang out and chat afterwards, we can. So let's do that. Beloveds, you have been beautiful. I love you. I love all your beautiful selves with a capital S. Satgurnath Maharaj Ki Jai.